all right. We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Heat Check live beat review show right here on YouTube. I am your host, Desmond A, and I'm here to give you guys a great time and some great beat reviews. So, I want to go ahead and give a thank you to all the producers who submitted their beats to today's stream. I definitely appreciate that. We got a few producers coming up here. Definitely more producers than last stream, but we definitely did have a good time last stream nonetheless. All right, so who am I? You might be wondering, who am I? Who is this guy? What does he do? Well, my name is Desmond A. I've been producing music for over 12 years now. Have music on different networks like Bravo, E-Television, Sci-Fi, different, all over the place, and also recorded independent music artist, and also have sold beats online, done a little bit of everything. So I have kind of a unique perspective when it comes to music. Have the engineering kind of side on it, and also have the beat making side. So that gives you guys kind of a full package when it comes to this review thing. So I'm going to go ahead and also let you guys know, if this is your first time here, what is the format? How does this show work? So you guys go ahead and submit your beats from the end of this stream. So once the stream ends, we're going to have the free submissions open again for next Friday's stream. And what happens is the form that you see in the description is going to open when the stream ends, and then it also closes on Fridays at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's the cutoff for the free submissions. If you missed the free submission windows, you can of course see up top here as it scrolls through the ticker, you're going to see VIP. So we also have a $10 VIP skip the line, where you can go ahead and still submit your beats for this stream. What happens is you're going to skip everybody. Not only that, we're going to play your full beat. So free submissions, we play about a minute and a half or so of your beat. And then for the VIP skip the line, $10, that's going to be, we play your whole beat. So you'll see that. And it's also pinned in the chat here on YouTube. So you can go ahead and click on that, get your VIP, skip the line, invest in yourself. And yes, whoa, what's going on? It is Millie. We got Millie in the building. What's going on, Millie? Shout out to Millie Beats in the chat. I got your submission. Also shout out to all the producers who are going to show up in the chat. And we also have producers who like to show up on the replay. It is Friday night. You guys out there are moving and shaking. Hopefully you guys are out there networking and whatnot. So if you can't catch it, definitely check out the replay. But I definitely would appreciate it if you could check out the live show so we can get that feedback. Last time me and Millie were going back and forth. I was giving him some information. He was telling me some stuff. So you can kind of get like a quick little consultation in the chat if you show up on the live stream. So yeah. Also, guys, special announcement. The Made in the Studio podcast is going to be returning soon. So I've been in contact with a couple of producers out there, a couple of producers doing some real big things, man. Get that good information straight from the source. People are in the studio with legends, man, with legends and people who are, up and coming in on the move. So we have a little bit of everybody coming back to the Made in the Studio podcast. So be on the lookout for that. I'll make an announcement with more details in my YouTube community posts, so you guys will all see that. Then I also will update you guys via email and on the live stream. So, I stay in contact with you guys in a whole lot of different ways. But yeah, that's housekeeping for this week's show. So let's go ahead and get into some beats, what you guys are actually here for. All right, here we go. Let me put on my good old headphones on here. Got the headphones got a little tangled here. Looks like when I was setting up, it got a little tangled here, but don't trip while I'm getting this untangled. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go to DesmondASounds.com. That's DesmondASounds.com, where you can get some free loops for your beats. You can also get some free FL Studio Patcher plugins. That's right, man. These plugins are made with stock sounds from FL Studio, and they sound better than some real expensive ones. So make sure you guys check that out. Also, DesmondASounds.com. All right, we are locked and loaded here. Let's go ahead and start from the top. Ladies and gentlemen, our first submission for this Friday's Heat Check is Kuvo Beats with his track Long Time. So I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic, play this beat, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Kuvo Beats with Long Time. Kuvo Beats, thank you so much for submitting your beat on this week's Heat Check. Now, Kuvo Beats, definitely a good beat, a hard beat. I can see myself in the studio and a rapper being like, hey, Desmond, go ahead and load that one up. I'm going to go ahead and do something to that one. So definitely an artist-friendly beat. Definitely fits the tone and the texture for modern hip-hop music. So shout out to you, Kuvo Beats. One thing that definitely jumped out to me, though, Kuvo Beats, and that's why you saw me opening up my mixer for a second. I thought I might have had the Fruity Limiter on there somehow, but it sounds like your beat itself is hitting the limiter kind of hard, and it's kind of squeezing the dynamics. It's kind of just, it's squeezing the energy in the beat. So let's try to let the beat breathe a little bit. You know, we can see here that the waveform is like kind of like one big block. Just ease off the limiter a little bit so the elements of your beats can breathe and move the way that you wanted them to move. The limiter is just kind of squeezing things too much. And you know, guys, you know, we have this little gain thing here in FL Studio, and the same thing is in Pro Tools. So, you know, if an artist wants to jump on this, they want to get in Pro Tools to record, you know, the engineer can always go ahead and boost it up. You know, when you record a lot of artists, you can even start to spot things. As soon as an artist gets in the booth, you can be like, okay, this beat is a little too quiet. Then the engineer will just go ahead and push up the gain or pull down the gain. But if we pull down the gain on this one, we see it's still like one big block. And that tells me that there's really no dynamics. There's no highs and lows. You see that? So let's ease off on the limiter and you'll be good to go. Because production wise, you got it. You know how to put all the elements together. But I wouldn't want somebody to skip over your beat because it's not shaking the speakers the way that, you know, you want them to shake. All right. So yeah, it's the only feedback I got for you, Kuvo Beats. Shout out to you. And it looks like you got another submission this week, Kuvo Beats. This one is OTC. So we got Kuvo Beats with OTC. Second submission of the night right here on the Heat Check. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Kuvo Beats' second submission of the night with OTC. Shout out to you, Kuvo Beats, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Kuvo Beats, that was a good beat, man. That beat was really ready for, I would say that beat is like ready for a big artist, man. So definitely, I'm not sure if you have a YouTube type beat channel. I tell you guys all the time to just throw it up there, man. If you don't, if you guys don't want to take the time to build your type beat, like a beat store and everything like that, man, just put your type beat up on YouTube and just put your email or something. If that's all you have time to do, you don't have time to set up and all that stuff, like do that just so people can get on your beat, because you know that beat definitely can find a home. This has a lot of space. The bass is hitting, the kick is hitting, and the melody is good. It's kind of giving me like Gunna vibes. It feels like somebody like Gunna could get on a beat like that. I like the way the beat, the bass is hitting. I like how it's overloaded. I like that it's like the bass and the kick is hitting so hard. It's incorrect, but it's in an ugly pretty aesthetic. It's like it almost shouldn't work, but it does work. And that's the thing that I talk about sometimes is things being ugly pretty. It's correct in an incorrect way, and that's the pretty part. And that's the good part about art and artistry and things like that. We can break the rules. One thing is, this is a little nitpicky. You don't have to do it, but you could lower that kick and that 808 that you got going on there, maybe by like negative 0.3, negative 0.4, just because it could possibly be a little too much, especially when we talk about real big speakers in the studio. So yeah, it's like negative 0.3, negative 0.4 dB. Very light, very, very light, but I think that would help it a bit. You don't have to do it, but just kind of a feedback thing, because this is the Heat Check and guys do want feedback. So, but overall, man, you got it. You definitely got it. So shout out to you, Kuvo Beats. All right, moving forward, we have Ayo Zay with Damsko. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Ayo Zay.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ayo Zay with Damsko. So shout out to you, Ayo Zay, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now Ayo Zay with that beat, definitely like that kick and that 808. that was definitely cutting through. Really good combination there. When it comes to, so the first thing is, when I first heard the beat, the instruments that you had going on, they almost sounded like stock sounds, but not quite. It sounds like you might be using some type of VST, where the sound quality could be just a little bit better, just because the sounds just, it was giving me stock vibes, but something in me is telling me it's not stock. It's something close to stock, but it's not stock. So whatever that is, you know, if you can, try to get you something like Omnisphere, or I would say Serum. Serum is, you know, kind of expensive, or however you get Serum, you know, who knows. But yeah, you could try Serum, Omnisphere, the Roland SRX series. All those different ones definitely have high quality sounds, and I think that that would help the texture of the instruments in the beat. Another thing I was hearing in that beat was the instruments. It sounded like you had like a delay going on in some of the instruments, and it started to cause a little bit of an overlap. Like the sound started to overlap on each other, and that can kind of cause things to sound like they're clashing into each other. So kind of watch the feedback knob whenever you're using delay. Watch the feedback knob so the tail isn't drifting off too much, where it's causing things to bang into each other. So yeah, once you do that, things are going to be more musically sound. Also the in that beat you had so when I heard the instruments and I heard the kick, I was expecting more of like a traditional trap drum pattern, but then this was kind of giving me a little bit of Afrobeat vibes with the kind of the groove and the bounce, but the instruments still kind of pushed me in the trap lane. So it was a little bit of not really totally deciding to be one direction or the other. And that's going to be a bit challenging when it comes to working with a recording artist. They really want a sure thing. But if you want to experiment, you're going to have to be in the studio with them, kind of coaching them through your song concept and your song idea. You have to kind of explain why the instrumental is kind of not really finding a home totally. So if you have like a song concept or something like that, you can explain it, but overall, it just sounds like the beat is not totally committed to one lane yet. And honestly, this is kind of something that I probably typically wouldn't say, but it feels like this beat needs to kind of commit more into the modern trap lane, where you don't have that Caribbean Afrobeat snare pattern or rim shot pattern. You just go straight trap. So let's mute those drums and just push it straight trap drums, you know, straight trap snares and claps, those type of thing, and keep a nice trap bounce. Everything else in this beat, all the other elements are just welcoming a trap sound. It's like it has its arms open. It says like, just take me all the way home to trap. That's what the music is telling me. So yeah, shout out to you though. Keep making some great music, man. All right, looks like we got another submission here by Aoze. This one is called Zito, Zito. All right, so let's go ahead and play this beat. I'm gonna mute my mic and then give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Yo, Zay.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ayo Zay with Zito. Shout out to you, Ayo Zay, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Ayo Zay, one thing I'm noticing about your production, Ayo Zay, it's like the drums sound good and like professional, but then the instrumentation, it's like your sound patches that you're using, they almost sound like, and even in this one, this almost sounded stock. It's like leaning on the stock side. But I will say this: the intro, I was hearing the sounds, and it sounded almost stock. But then as the beat started to develop, and the kick drum actually hit, and the 808 actually hit, it felt like a nice contrast between a stock sound and it almost felt like it had like a video game kind of aesthetic. Like just how the melody and how it was jumping up and down, and then the drums hit. So I like that. It kind of made like kind of a pretty marriage between the two. But I will still say let's aim for more developed sounds, because like the bass patch and the piano, I want you to just have it in your arsenal. And I've already pointed out a couple of different sources where you can get those type of sounds. Let's see. Oh, also in that beat, good beat, especially as the drum started hitting. So, one thing I heard was the piano that you had going on. The volume, it was a little too present. It's like we need to pull the piano sound down a little bit. Almost feel like we might want to have like a compressor there, not really doing too much work, but just kind of controlling it from jumping up too forward, being too present. Because whenever we have a recording artist and they're vibing out to the beat, they want a wide open lane, a wide open highway that they can go ahead and write their song. And then let's just say they wanted another element, the engineer can jump in Pro Tools, whatever DAW, and just add a little extra element. But it's always better to just have a little too much space than a little too little space, if that makes sense. So you can either use a transparent compressor like this. And when I say transparent, just meaning it doesn't add too much extra tone and extra characteristics to your sound. It's just keeping it relatively the same as how you have it. You can use a transparent compressor like this, RVox, legendary compressor here. Excuse me, not RVox, RComp. Let me make sure you guys can see it on the screen. Okay. You can use a compressor like RComp, and, you know, just, I'm not going to compress it too much, just like a 2-to-1 ratio. And then just as the piano goes, don't let the gain reduction do too much. Just what you want to do is you want it to control the piano without hearing the compression. And a great way to do that is to make sure that you have this open in your DAW, whatever DAW you're using, so you can always compare it. So you can always A and B it. So you're listening to that piano sound. You're listening to it being compressed with RComp. Then you turn it off. And then you can hear that it's kind of jumping and moving around, and it feels less controlled. But then whenever you turn on RComp, you want to make sure that it's just a controlled version of what you just had. So you don't want it to be doing too much, smashing everything, sounding. You don't want it to sound compressed. You want it to just compress it without really being able to tell that you're using a compressor. So, you know, just do that, and you'll be good to go. So let me go ahead and turn off RComp. All right. And yeah. But yeah, other than that, man, that beat got potential. Once you do, you know, control the volume of the piano, you should be all good to go for the most part. But yeah, man, keep cooking. You definitely got something, man. Keep cooking. All right. Moving forward. Excuse me, guys. Drink some water. I've been talking for a little bit. Moving forward, we have PH Beats with Zone. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. PH Beats with Zone. He went in and out. There you go. Bam. That's it. Straight up. That's all he needed. So shout out to you, PH Beats. And thank you so much for your submission right here on the Heat Check. You know, that beat definitely, that definitely gave me like East Coast vibes. I was hearing people like Jadakiss on it, Dave East, people like that. Those are the type of artists I was hearing. Yeah, man, good beat. It definitely, it has that home. It has that home for those particular type of artists. One thing I was hearing that you had a nice subby bass. Try to add a little bit, just a little bit of distortion. And I say that because the modern trap has a lot of that mid-range distortion in a lot of the music. This one is all sub. And just to kind of marry the two, you know, just go ahead and jump right in your DAW and just add a little bit of distortion. See if you can add a little bit. If it takes away from the music, definitely take it off. But if you can add a little bit of distortion, I just kind of want things to be a little more. I want to kind of like audibly hear some of those like low mid frequencies in the sub bass. Understand we got the sample and everything going on, so we don't want things to be too cluttered or anything like that. But just a little bit, if we can just get a taste, just a taste of buzziness, so we can hear a little bit more, then I think that'll be good. So if you have something like, maybe if you have like Saturn, the plugin Saturn by FabFilter, that'll be cool. Or, you know, just a whole bunch of stock stuff, free stuff. Just give it a try, see what they sound like. But overall, yeah, man. One thing you can even do with beats like these, I used to have a similar style to this kind of leaning more East Coast until I started incorporating more R&B into my music. I used to do a lot of these kind of sample chops with drum breaks and whatnot. Kind of do it to this day too. But another thing you could do, just so things don't get too repetitive, it could still work how it is, but just kind of throwing this out there for you just in case. You can do something like one knob. Where is it at? I was gonna use. Let's see if we can find it real quick. One knob filter. All right, there we go. So you can even do something like this. Let's play your beat. All right, all the other elements came in when I was doing that, but you can do that to like the sample every now and then, just to kind of break things up. If you don't want them to like start to feel a little repetitive, you could do that. A lot of rappers still gonna be able to rap on it as is, but a low pass filter every now and then can kind of help you break things up a little bit. So just want to put that out there. All right. So shout out to you, PH Beats. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Moving forward, we have Ace with Unique Jersey Acoustic. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Turn it up, Ace.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ace with Unique Jersey Acoustic. So shout out to you, Ace. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Excuse me. Now, Ace, couple things going on here. First, that was a nice sample you had going on. Definitely gave me like, you know, kind of smooth jazz kind of feel with the sample, which was definitely refreshing. However, when the drums first started to come in, you had like that snare, somewhat of an acoustic snare, and the tambourine. It didn't fit even. It just didn't fit the rest of the music. It didn't fit the sample. It just felt off. It felt off. Even the way it was hitting the sample, like the rhythm of the snare and the tambourine was off as well. So I feel like we need some different drums there in that section. Also, when the beat came on, it was just way too overloaded. I could just tell you're blaring. Your master is just gonna be all the way in the red. So if we were playing this beat in your DAW, even if I play it now, it's gonna be smashing the red totally, and that's degrading the ingredients. You know, I say all the time, you know, when your elements are in the red, and just give that harsh digital distortion sound, it's kind of like burning food. It burns your elements, so it doesn't really feel the way it should feel. And I could just tell it was just way overloaded. It's real harsh digital distortion. So pull the volume down, give the beat some breathing room, and then the artist can turn up the volume, engineer can turn up the volume, and they'll be good to go. Or you can use a limiter properly, and then you can get the volume nice and balanced. Also, this beat, it was like trying to find a direction. It had the sample, it had those acoustic drums, then it just kept going. It had this beatboxing kind of thing. So it's like there was this quest for a direction for this beat. Where exactly is it going? It kind of felt like I have these elements in my DAW. I have these elements in my folder, and I can just add them, and it's kind of cool. So let me just go ahead and add it. But you know, a lot of us do find ourselves in that position because we have access to so many sounds these days. But you still want to have a direction for the beat. You know, where's the hook? Where's the verse? Where's the breakdown? Where's the hook? And then that beatboxing thing just felt like totally random. It didn't really add anything. If it was trying to be like experimental, it didn't really add anything. So I would say, I mean, you could keep the sample and then just try to rework the drums and the mix and everything like that. But just overall, just this beat was just trying to find direction, and it made it hard to get into. So I tell producers all the time, sing over your beats, rap over your beats, even if you have to rap a verse from one of your favorite artists. That way you can help yourself structure things and things don't get all over the place. But shout out to you, PH Beats. Thank you, PH Beats. Thank you so much for your submission, and thank you so much for joining the Heat Check. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, that was Ace. I said Ace. I said PH Beats. I apologize. I kept saying PH Beats because we had PH Beats earlier, and PH Beats is right here. I apologize. That was from a producer called Ace. So the feedback was for Ace on that one for the smooth jazz sample one. So apologize, PH Beats and Ace, for getting you two mixed up. I apologize. All right. And before we move on to Benzo here, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want to remind you that you can go to DesmondASounds.com to get free FL Studio patcher plugins, free loops. I got some crazy loops, free guides. I got a guide on Pro Tools that's absolutely fire. Shortcuts on how to move around in the studio, man. You guys want to possibly get a studio job where you're out there recording artists and making money by the hour. You're going to want to know the shortcuts, the hotkeys, and Pro Tools, because all studios, no matter what people say on YouTube, they're still using Pro Tools. Let me go up the street to a recording studio, popular one, Guess what's going to happen when I enter that room and I tap that engineer on the shoulder? It's going to be Pro Tools. All right. So make sure you guys know the hotkeys. I made a guide that you can get at DesmondASounds.com. The hotkeys that you're going to need to use if you want a studio job and you just want to make money recording artists. And those are shortcuts that I used and they have saved me. So I made a lot of mistakes. I've had a lot of angry artists in the past. That's partially because we didn't have all these YouTube guides back then. So you had to learn. I had to learn in the trenches, literally. Unfortunately, I was in the trenches sometimes, time to time in Atlanta as a recording artist. So I made that guide for you guys so you can learn from my mistakes. And that guide is free. So check that out at DesmondASounds.com. I apologize. That was a bit of a tangent. Let's get to you, Benzo. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Benzo with Untitled 156 BPM. I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Benzo with Untitled 156 BPM. Shout out to you, Benzo, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Benzo, that beat, that was an interesting beat. It had a lot of elements that I liked, but then it would hit certain points where things just became too much. You know, it's almost like eating candy. You know, you can have some real good candy and then you're eating it, and then you keep eating it, and then you take another scoop, and then you eat it, and then you're like, ooh, it's too much. It's too much at once. You know, that's kind of like what I was hearing. Certain parts almost had the stank face for a second, man, but then it kept going, and then it was just too much, you know, kind of dialed back on having too many of those. It just felt a little erratic. But you have a lot of really nice elements in this beat, man. Kind of reminds me of that Timbaland, Justin Timberlake era. You know, Timbaland would use a lot of Timbaland and Danger Hands, that kind of era with the Justin Timberlake kind of wave where he used a lot of the synths, and the synths kind of have some nice R&B chords, and the chords would even go into soul a little bit at times. So I kind of felt those kind of elements. You know, I almost feel like somebody like Doja Cat could possibly make a song to something like that if you dial back the elements. So get back in your DAW, lean back, let the music speak to you. That's one thing I do when I produce music is, you know, I'll be on my keyboard and then I'll just play like a melody, and then I'll just sit there listening, and I say, speak to me, music, you know, speak to me, tell me what to do next. So I let the music kind of speak to me sometimes. So that's what I want you to do. Also, Benzo, you know, open up your DAW, play that beat back, and then listen, and then see what you can do to dial back some of those elements, man. Sometimes it just got a little too much. But this beat, it has potential, definitely has potential. So just dial back some of those elements, man. You can make this go places. As a matter of fact, let me try something on this beat. I don't want to ruin your beat. Let me try something. Let's try something here really quickly. Hopefully this doesn't sound weird. If it does, I apologize. So I just time stretched it.
Swag.
See how it has a better bounce to it whenever I time stretched it. It felt like things weren't doing too much all at once. So kind of work on slowing the tempo and having all the sounds happen all at once. So time stretching it kind of did what I thought it would do. So shout out to you, Benzo, though. Please continue submitting on the heat check, man. You definitely got something special, especially if that's part of the sound, your sound, then you got something, man. Shout out to you. Moving forward, we have Millie Beats with Hearts in the Sun, G-Funk. All right, shout out to you, Millie Beats. We're going to go ahead and play this track, mute my mic, and go ahead and give my feedback. So let's take a listen.
God damn, Millie, you're bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Millie Beats with Hearts in the Sun. All right, shout out to you, Millie Beats. Thank you so much for your submission. Now, Millie Beats. That beat definitely has a good bounce to it, a good vibe, a good groove to it. One thing is that snare that you had in there, that clap that you had, didn't really fit the rest of the music too much. It kind of felt a little bit awkward. So let's go ahead and skip through your sound selection and find a different clap. That one just felt a little off. It felt a little bit stock, and I feel like you have a better clap in your arsenal. I was hearing in my head like the clap from 50 Cent's In the Club that might actually fit that beat. So if you have that somewhere in your arsenal, definitely try adding that. Also the bass in this one, boom, 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 boom. So musically, you have everything on point as far as melodically, which I'm very happy of. But just that the sound selection on that Moog bass, boom, 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 it just felt like the sound selection just felt a little bit. It felt a little bit too stock. So let's try to find a higher quality sound if you can, if you're able to. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Millie Beats is using FL Studio Mobile. That's right, he's using his mobile device to make these beats, man. And he's coming with the fire, and he's been improving. So yeah, but yeah, for what you have so far, I just would swap out the clap, swap out the bass, Moog bass, and then I just want something more polished and fat as far as the bass goes. But yes, once you do that, you'll be good to go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving forward, we have Millie Beats with I Love the Game. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
God damn, Millie, you're bad. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Millie Beats with I Love the Game. So shout out to you, Millie Beats, and thank you so much for your submission. Now, Millie Beats, a couple things. One thing, I like that sub bass that you had in that beat. So I remember like a few shows ago, I was talking about your sub bass and getting it in key. So you got your sub bass in key, and it sounds really good, and it sounds nice and present. So I don't know what sound you have for that sub bass that you're using, but that's a really good sound. So make sure you favorite that so you can always access it. I really like that sub bass that you had going on there. In this beat, you had like this 80s or 90s, kind of like an 80s time. That one kind of felt a little bit out of place. I don't really feel like I needed it in this beat. Also, the piano sound that you had in here, I like the ding, 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 ding. That one sounded good, but the low piano you had, it almost felt like it clashed at moments with the high piano. So let's kind of watch that. I don't know if you possibly need to make sure that your the piano's cut off at the right point. That might be it, but for some reason they didn't fit totally well the way they should, especially for this type of beat. So kind of be on the lookout for that. Other than that, good beat, nice vibe, nice change of energy and vibes as the beat went on. So yeah, so just a couple corrections there, and I think we'll be good to go. All right. Drum kits. Yes, it's my first time doing G-Funk. Okay. Drum kit. Trying to figure out what you're saying here. I think you didn't use the translator. Try to see if my Spanish is not very good. Let's see. Try to Google what you put real quick. Let's see here. What did he say? Uh, Translation to English. What he say? Oh, I will look for better ones. Okay. I think the 808 muddies the mix a bit. On this one, this second one, I don't think so, man. I don't think the are you talking about this beat where I just heard? I don't think so on this beat. I love the game. I think it sounds good. Um I'm not sure if you was talking about I love the game or the other one, but this was a very good bass you had there. Um but yeah, shout out to you, Millie Beast, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Definitely appreciate your submission and listening to your growth. All right, moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, we are still going here on the Heat Check. Moving forward, we have MC Zappa with Grady's Theme. All right, I'm going to play this beat, mute my mic, and then give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
And you know what the worst part is? What? The only man you're going to be able to get is some fool named Grady. He'll be smelling like soup all the time. I hate soup.
Some fool named Grady.
Hey, listen, now you didn't believe me last night when I was trying to tell you, but maybe you believe me today. You see, my name is not Fred Wilson. My name is, Grady Sampson. There it is. Now, do you believe?
Ladies and gentlemen, that was MC Zappa with Grady's Theme. Shout out to you, MC Zappa. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, MC Zappa, when I heard that beat, I was actually thinking about Adult Swim for some reason. So I was just thinking of like background music to some type of show or some type of like the characters are getting into something and then that music starts playing. So I wasn't really that my energy didn't take me towards a recording artist. It took me more so towards a scene. So I don't know what your goals are as a producer, man, but definitely try reaching out to even indie filmmakers that you might find on YouTube. You guys work something out. You could try music supervisors, but I'm even really thinking like indie people. So if you look on Instagram, YouTube, just try to find someone who's doing something creative in that kind of Adult Swim type of vein. I think that that could go somewhere. I believe, if I can remember this interview right, I believe the producer, my best friend Jacob, did some music for some type of like skateboarding or hip hop documentary. Then that led to him working with someone else, and that led to him working with someone else, and that helped him grow as a producer. So I would definitely try that as well. MC Zappa, try getting your music, particularly this beat, to the film industry, the film lane. Even if it's an independent person, you know, we're all connected to people somehow. You never know who that independent person you give music to, who they're connected to and who they're connected to and then who they're connected to. So definitely be on the lookout for that. So shout out to you, MC Zappa, with Grady's theme. All right, moving forward, another submission here for MC Zappa, Izzy's Lament. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
That waitress seems to have an awful lot on her mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was MC Zappa with Izzy's Lament. Shout out to you, MC Zappa, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, MC Zappa, listening to that beat, it sounds like you're using some type of drum machine. I don't think that was made in a DAW. I'm hearing some like analog dimension. So let me know in the comments if you watch the playback, if you are in fact using some type of hardware drum machine. It just, I've been using DAWs for so long. It is nice to hear some of that analog texture. Makes me want to get an MPC, maybe put it next to my keyboard right here. Who knows? But yeah, getting back to your feedback. There's a couple things going on with that beat. One, it has a nice overall texture, nice overall aesthetic, but it's like I was catching a vibe at a moment, and then it's like you started to change the beat a little too much. Like you added the like some type of TV sample in there, and then it felt like you like sped the beat up, and then at certain parts, almost felt like parts of the beats were overlapping on each other. So it's almost like it's just like an instrumental for like an instrumental project for people to kind of like vibe out to and listen to. You can even like make a whole bunch of beats like this, put them all together, put them on YouTube, and then keep putting those beats together on like a 2-hour playlist, and then keep posting them on YouTube, and then you could build a following that way. Actually, if your goal is like instrumental music as opposed to beats specifically for recording artists, because if it's going to be for a recording artist, then this would need to be have the less of those changes, like kind of keep things a bit more structured so the artist doesn't lose their vibe. I lost my vibe. I caught a really good vibe, then I lost it because it's like it started changing a bit much. But overall, I liked it. Kind of gave me like No ID vibes. Kind of gave me like the vibes of like maybe something like Common, B. I was getting that kind of gritty hip hop sound, and then the nice melodies being added on top of that. That reminds me of like B by Common. I think other producers, other songs. Maybe a little bit of Danger Mouse. I'm hearing like a little bit of those type of vibes in that beat. But yeah, you definitely have a style. You definitely have a sound, and you have a style and a sound that I could hear you having your own fan base to, and maybe even creating projects for specific artists. Um, so yeah, man, keep cooking up beats. If you have instrumental projects, definitely post them on YouTube. Yeah, I can hear you creating your own fan base. I can hear you maybe even making vinyl and cassette tapes and selling them on your own website or Bandcamp or something. You got that indie hip hop vibe that a lot of people like, and has its own subculture too. So, you man, with the right strategy and stuff, MC Zappa, you could really do something, especially with your sound. So yeah, definitely drop instrumentals. If you don't have a strategy or anything yet, just drop instrumentals on YouTube. Have people subscribe to you. Do cook up videos, and that's it. Don't overthink it. Keep it simple. But shout out to you, MC Zappa. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. And please continue to submit. I'll be glad to check out more of your music. All right, moving forward, we have Dancing Main with Girls Wanna Have Fun. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and then give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. And gentlemen, that was Dancing Main. Sorry, that was Dancing Main with Girls Just Want to Have Fun. So shout out to you, Dancing Main. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. All right, now, Dancing Main, that one, it's like the sample, the key of the sample, the Girls Just Want to Have Fun, and then the melody that you had, the chords you had, was it's a little off. It was just a little off, and it kind of threw off the vibe, especially for like a classic sample like that. Then from there we got into the beat. I've just heard so much. I've heard so much higher levels of Dancing Main that it's just like, I know what you can do. So this one was just like, I know you can come with the Dancing Main. I feel like you could do better, man. Especially with your sample work. Come on, man. Dancing Main. Come on with your sample work. We know how you get down, Dancing Main. So, I feel like we could take the sample out, and even with the sample out, I've heard so much better, so much like just higher levels from you that, come on, Dancing Main. We can come harder, man. I got my expectations for you, Dancing Main. So,
Nah, I'm not really feeling that one, Dancing Man. Especially with your body of work. I know what you can do. New submissions, I don't know what they could do, but you, Dancing Man, I know what you can do. So not really feeling that one. So let's moving forward. Let's go ahead and listen to Dancing Man, Giving Up on Me. I'm not giving up on you, Dancing Man. This one's called Giving Up on Me, and I'm not. So let's go ahead and listen to this submission from Dancing Man and see what we cooking with.
I tried to let go, but I don't know. Feel the way I feel the way I feel. I tried to let go, but I don't know. Feel the way I feel the way I feel.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. That was Dancing Man with Giving Up on Me. So shout out to Dancing Man. Thank you so much for submitting on the heat check. Now, Dancing Man, that was definitely much more in the Dancing Man aesthetic that gave me the vibes of Dancing Man. So yes, I'm not giving up on you, Dancing Man, because that definitely gave me the vibes that we come to expect from Dancing Man. And not expect from Dancing Man when you hit us in the chest with them R&B a couple times, man. You hit us smooth in the chest with R&B a couple times. So, definitely keep experimenting. Now with that beat, one thing I was hearing in that intro part and also in the hook part, it sounded like you had a bass sound going on in there. And that bass sound that you had going on sounded off key. So if you want to just mute that bass sound or put it in the right key, that'll work, but it just sounded off. So I want you to work on that. Other than that, definitely have Dancing Man vibes, good drums. Gave me like always. I usually whenever I hear hip hop stuff, I kind of think of like cold weather, walking through like a whole bunch of like buildings like at night. So it gave me those vibes. But yeah, that was solid. Just work on that bass sound in the hook and in the intro parts, and I think you'll be good to go. You definitely have your own sound, Dancing Man. Like I told MC Zappa, man, you got your own sound too. So please create a YouTube, create a BeatStars, Beat Store. You guys have like fan bases that could be waiting for you. Particularly you, Dancing Man. I think you more so, Dancing Man. I think you're going to be a person who's going to attract people who want you to produce their entire projects, like EPs. I definitely hear that with you, Dancing Man. So put your music out there. You guys submit on the heat check, please. Just YouTube so and so type beat, and then just put it up, please, guys. Please. Man, I've sold beats. Oh man, I've sold beats. I've posted beats on YouTube. This is especially way back in the day. Like when I first moved to Atlanta, I'll post beats on YouTube, man, and just
I would just randomly get sales. So I would just put so and so type beat, then get sales, or people emailing you asking you questions. And that's a tip that I give a lot of producers when it comes to selling beats. If somebody asks you a question and that question is obvious, you've already answered it on the website or it's already answered in your description, that person wants to connect with you and wants to feel like you're human. So if you guys see a question asked by a recording artist, I see some producers snapping on recording artists as if the recording artists are slow. They're not slow. They just want to ask an easy question so you can respond back to them and encourage them. So that's a tip, sales tip on online beat sales. There's no such thing as a bad question. There's no such thing as a stupid question. They want reassurance that you're a real person and you're not just going to run away. So yes, sorry guys, went on a bit of a tangent, but yes, looks like we are done for today's heat check. All right, so I want to give a shout out to all the producers who submitted for this week's show. Definitely appreciate that. Definitely appreciate it. We may be skipping next Friday's show just to make space for a couple things I have going on. More value for you guys. So it's not for me, it's for you guys. So maybe skipping next Friday's show. We may be moving to bi-weekly, but I'm going to go ahead and keep you guys posted. I'll make the decision tonight and make a post on the YouTube community. So that way you guys are aware, but more than likely going to skip next Friday's show regardless. So ladies and gentlemen, all the producers out there, thank you so much for submitting on the heat check. We are like about 9 months in, man. 9 months in on the heat check. In May, we'll make 1 year. That is crazy. That is mind blowing. Almost at 1 year on the heat check. That's crazy. But I've enjoyed every minute of it, helping you guys out on your production journey, on your musical journey. It is definitely rewarding, and I'm glad to be here for you guys each and every week, or possibly every other week moving forward. But one thing is for sure, I'm always going to be consistent and showing up for you guys, no matter what the frequency is. So I'll see you guys soon. Y'all be safe out there, and I want to see you guys soon. All right, keep cooking up that